Before we launch into the chronology and details of Jewish history, we really need to deal with one really important philosophical question, which will definitely color how we look at the world, the decisions we make. On one hand, we're talking about an infinite creator of the universe who knows and controls everything. On the other hand, we're talking about human beings, free will, making decisions. There's a contradiction there. I mean, if God knows and controls everything, how can you say we have free will? This is the ultimate question. The ultimate idea in Jewish mysticism is based really on this concept too. I mean, if God is infinite, how can we even have a physical world? And a physical world, assuming it exists, what's the relationship? All the really good philosophical questions that we have come from that issue. Like if God is all-powerful and all-knowing, how do we have that free will? Or if he is all good and all-powerful and all-knowing, how do we have suffering? But to understand Jewish history, we have to deal with this question just for a few minutes. Are we really choosing? Do we have free will? Now, without spending an infinite amount of time to try and understand that, Judaism would say simply, yes, we are really choosing, but God knows what we're going to choose. But we are really choosing, but he does know what we're going to choose. Allow me to give you a little example to try and explain this. Imagine a scenario. You're standing on the top of a fire tower. In America, they have these fire towers where forest rangers look for forest fires. And you're looking through a super powerful telescope 60 miles away. You see this beautiful mountain. At the top of the mountain is this lake with this easy boy lounge chair with Smithers the butler standing there with a pina colada with the pineapple with the umbrella in it waiting for you. In between that mountain and you is 60 miles of Amazonian tropical rainforest. There's a host to this scenario standing there next to you. The best analogy in terms of a movie would be the Hunger Games to understand this point, if anyone is familiar with those movies. The host says to you, here's the deal. You got 6 days to make it through 60 miles of forest, climb up the mountain, sit in the chair, drink the pina colada, and enjoy the view. He says one other thing. He says, first of all, there are multiple trails in here. There are hard ones, there are easy ones, there are long ones, there are short ones. You can get off one and onto the other. That's your choice. He also says, we really control all of this. It looks all normal and natural, the animal, the nature, the weather. But we can control it. I press a button, you're at the exit. But for you, you got to make all the right decisions. You climb down the mountains, you got your backpack, your supplies, your walking stick, your hat, your sunglasses. You see a few paths going into the forest in front of you. You can't see where they go. The gun goes off, the clock starts ticking. You can go down one path where 100 meters into the forest, you get on a golf cart that takes you to a heliport, that takes you on an hour helicopter ride to the top of the mountain. And an hour and a half after you start, you're sitting at the top of the mountain enjoying that view and drinking the pina colada. Or you can go down the other extreme path where 100 yards into the forest, pygmies with poison darts start shooting them at you. And crocodiles are chasing you and you're going through 100-degree weather with 100% humidity over frame rope bridges with volcanic lava underneath it and gnats and mosquitoes sucking all the blood out of your body. And in that scenario, it's 5 minutes to midnight at the end of the last day. Time is almost up. You're exhausted. Your clothes are shredded. You're missing a few minor body parts. And you got to be medevac to the top of the mountain in a helicopter and drink that pina colada through an IV tube. What's the point? The beginning, it's all in the past. The end is guaranteed, but we decide the paths we take. That's exactly the point that Judaism is making. But rather than this being a scenario with one person over 6 days, Judaism views it generations of human beings and generations of the Jewish people, each making decisions and passing the baton on like in a relay race. And in every generation, that generation can decide whether it's going to make the right decision and speed up that process and get to the end or slow it down. But one way or another, we will get there. What is under our control is the paths we take and the decisions we make. And that will completely color the journey. How easy, how hard, how quick, how slow. That's within control. But the one thing the Jewish people will not be allowed to do is to just lie at the bottom of that mountain at the end of the scenario. And as we can barely summon the energy to go up to the top, remember, I remember the guy told me 6 days ago, you hear the helicopter coming, I'll just wait. What's clear from Jewish sources is that we're not going to be allowed to sit there and wait. Because as we're lying there, out of those woods comes a huge beast with like glowing eyes and big fangs. And we will either summon up the energy to make that final move and get to the top of that mountain, or it's going to be a painful process and we'll have no choice either way. But the end is guaranteed. The past is in the past. We decide the paths we take. And that is why it's so critical to learn from Jewish history. The decisions we make can decide the whole nature and length of that journey. I'm Ken Spiro, and you're watching JTV.
To stay up to date with the latest JCV content, if you're on YouTube, click subscribe below the video and the alarm bell. And if you're on Facebook, click the like button, and under following, click see first.